Hey, welcome.
I
We are so glad to um, be meeting up with you again this Thursday at noon. And today we're discussing personal branding. It's one of my favorite topics. Um, but before I do all the intros and stuff, let me quickly run our program intro. All right. So today, Onome, I have Onome with me. For let me do a quick self intro. Onome will do a quick self intro, and then we will start to discuss why we're here. If you're watching, if you have a question or a comment, please just type it into the comment box for whichever page, if Facebook or YouTube. But you will need to allow the software access so that your comments will show up here. We will see it and we will answer. And if you're watching the replay, please like the page, the Facebook page, or subscribe to the YouTube channel so that the next time we're bringing a new episode, you will get notified. All right. So now let me get to quick. I'm so excited about what we're going to talk about. So I'm rushing a bit. Quick intro. My name is Ladijia. I'm a career coach as well as HR consultant and trainer and recruiter. All right. So what I do, I help mid to senior level professionals land high paying jobs using a structured and proven job search process without having to go through the stress of a painful or a protracted job search. That's what I do. And of course, this live we host every Thursday, and it's for professionals, people who want to get ahead in their careers, people who are job searching, to answer questions about things that are really important as you go move ahead in your career. And I have with me Onome Odili. Onome, do a quick intro,
you.
please.
Thank you, Ladijia. It's always extremely exciting for me to be with you. I'm always, learning more, having my brain also tasked. So I'm very happy to be here. My name is Onome Odili. I have close to 19 years experience in marketing. I've worked in marketing all my life. Started from junior to senior levels, and it's one of my passions to see how we can help people grow. That's one thing that excites me all the time. So right now I train, I facilitate, I moderate, for sessions to help people get ahead whatever they are doing in their life. So that's a quick summary of who I am. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Onome is uniquely suited to today's topic because we're talking personal branding, right? So let's quickly go to it. The first thing we should talk about, Onome, is first, what is personal branding and why is it
Yeah.
important?
Well, personal branding to me is how it is a conscious way of positioning your brand and your reputation. Like I was speaking with you earlier, it's something that you do intentionally to build your brand. It is a sum total of your appearance, your demeanor, your professionalism, the way sum total of who you are, including your technical skills. Is how people see you or talk about you when you're not in that room, in that space. So those qualities that they mentioned, that's really your personal brand. But you now need to be intentional in taking it forward so that what you are projecting is what you really want, to project, and is what is able to get you ahead.
Yes.
Your next level of going to your personal brand. So that's really a summary. Another thing I want to say about personal branding: strong brands charge premium pricing.
Yeah.
Strong brands charge premium pricing. So one of the essences of personal branding is to enable you build a brand to a level where you can actually start charging premium for your services.
Yes, and
So
also to help position, right?
yes.
So your intention may not be to become a premium brand. Many of us want to be premium brands, want to be able to charge a premium. But like products, Onome, you know, one strategy does not fit all. Some people have
Yep.
a luxury brand, right? And some people have for the masses. But whichever one, the important thing is control. Who is controlling the narrative, right? Your brand isn't just who you say you are, it's who you say you are, plus what people say you are, plus what experience people actually have, right?
With you.
When they encounter you, plus the value you deliver. It's, you know, multidimensional, as on a message. So the thing is, I mean, no matter what your purpose is, you need a brand, which leads me right to this kind of naturally flows into the next. So when we're thinking about talking to you, we kind of, the way we formatted this is, we're looking at what are the mistakes, right? What are the most common mistakes we've encountered as we've worked with personal brands, you know, as we've encountered people in their personal branding, right? And so that's how we are going to approach it. Now, let's look at the first mistake: thinking you don't need a brand, right? I always say everybody, from the Ewa Goyin seller, right, to the guy who shines your shoes, to your mechanic, to your doctor, to your governor. I mean, if you, no matter how you slice it, to your pastor, to who else can I think about? Every person who is active, right, who is talking to other human beings, whether you're selling something or you are serving or you're looking for a service, everyone has a brand, right? One of the quickest ways I always, you know, used to check, do I have a brand or not? To show people that people have a brand, I say, recommend a tailor. You know, tailors are famous.
Very famous, very, very famous. So they are
So
for their timekeeping.
for their wonderful customer service. So I always say, think about it, recommend a tailor to me. And you know, typically in a class, that's when it erupts, right? You hear people say, I can recommend a suit to you, but let me tell you, prepare. What you will do is, if you want your clothes on the 1st, tell him you need it on the 15th of the previous month. That's Wasiu's brand right there. You know, right there. So not only does everyone have a brand, everyone needs a brand. I don't know what your take.
I absolutely agree with you. Examples would be, especially people that are in the service industry. When a hospital, for example, I know of a doctor who's an amazing, as in he knows his job, but he just doesn't have any bedside. He has a hospital. He doesn't have any bedside. What do you call it? Bedside behavior or bedside attitude. Yeah, you know, so he can go off and just say something that is supposed to, instead of, you know, accommodating you and making you feel good, he just goes off. He's not connecting, and that's not a very good thing to have in that kind of profession. You know, so I agree with you. We all have brands, but like what we've iterated, you just need to be intentional. What do you want to be known for? You know, and then how do you want people to remember you? How do you want to now, you know, create that awareness about your brand? Like we're going to get there. Yeah.
So the other thing I want to mention is that, you know, in this world, where our new world, where everybody is a business, right? Every single one of us, whether you're working for someone else or you're working for yourself, you're a business. Your brand, your personal brand, is even more important. Now we have a proliferation of solopreneurs, you know, one person who's operating as a business. This is the time, right, to know exactly you know, how to manage your brand. Now, if you were ever in doubt as to whether as to what your brand is, the quality of your brand is, just a simple asking one or two people. Ask people who like you, ask people who don't like you.
Exactly.
You'll be surprised, right?
About the responses you get.
About the responses you get. And that leads, I mean, naturally, we're flowing naturally into the next thing, the next mistake people often make, right? Now, the thing is, sorry. Okay, yes. The next mistake, pretending to be who you are not. Before I let Onome answer, I just want to point out your personal brand is not your resume. It's not your
Thank
LinkedIn.
you. It is not.
Let's get that out of the way. Those are just expressions of your brand. That's not your brand. But please, go ahead, Onome. Like, can we talk about this a bit?
Yeah, so I mean, we always have this thing that we talk about, especially now with the onset of social media. Fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. In a sense, you could pass yourself along in that, but in reality, it is not sustainable.
Yeah.
You cannot fake it till you make it to the end, and then you don't even want your brand to be seen as that kind of fake brand. In personal branding,
Oh, this is going, it's dragging a bit.
authenticity is key. Different people. You see me? Can you hear me?
Okay,
Can you hear me
now,
now?
yes, can you start again? Because it kind of cut out a bit.
Okay. So now I was trying to explain that authenticity is key. You can't be different people at different places. You can't be different people at work, for example, and a different person at home.
Yeah.
You have to understand your personal values, what you bring to the table, who you are, your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely key
because
that's what you guide your behavior, and in that way you have a consistent, constant, clear personal brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. But otherwise, yeah.
I agree. It goes back to when I teach customer service, we talk about expectations, and we always say, that customer satisfaction is the sum when you deduct someone's experience from the expectation you have set, right? And I always say, a lot of people create problems for themselves. I mean, when you're thinking of customer service, because when you say I will deliver in 24 hours, you have set the expectation for 24 hours. You must therefore do everything you can to deliver within that 24 hours. And that for a lot of people, it's impossible to meet the way they are. It's impossible to meet it. So that means your customers can never be satisfied. If you transfer that same concept, right, to how you think about and how you communicate your brand, it means you must be very clear about what expectations you are setting. Back to that point about Onome cut out. I'm sure she'll be right back in. Back to that point about authenticity. So if I'm saying I'm one thing, and every time you encounter me, you experience something else, what does that give me? Eventually, a very negative brand. I'm all about believing in yourself, right? And, having the mindset that you are it and becoming it, right? But there has to be a balance between being and saying who you are and what you can deliver versus, setting aspirational expectations, for want of a better way to put it. You are who you are. One illustration, and when Onome comes back, I'm sure she will validate it. We're talking about it. People who are one way at work, right? Even at work, you're one way with customers, and then you're extremely nasty to your colleagues. Sooner or later, it leaks through, right? So who you say you are has, to be authentic to who you are, and you have to show up like that in every sphere of your life. Well, I mean, your core brand values have to be consistent across, all the spheres of your life. Okay, so let me move to the next thing whilst we're waiting for the men to come back in. The third mistake people make with managing their personal brand is waiting until it is an emergency. People don't often people don't even really think about their brand until maybe something has gone wrong, right? Maybe you've gone viral. You've gone viral. You're on Instablog for something negative, or on Twitter, right? You've gone viral for wrong things, and then you start thinking reputation management, damage control, or you're suddenly made redundant, and suddenly you have to step back into the job market, and you find that suddenly no one knows you, or you need to be able to project a certain brand to be considered a prime candidate for what you're targeting for. or you're even maybe running for political office, any aspiration, right, typically triggers a brand reboot. Now, the challenge with waiting till you have, a problem, or waiting till you have a specific goal that has triggered it, is brand building, right? Is a bit like putting money in the bank. It's like a savings account, right? Because it's not just crafting a brand. Yes, you craft a brand, then you must project it, then people have to interact it so that it is proven over time. Tested brands, right, get things done effortlessly. I'm talking about human beings now, right? Let me just illustrate. So there's a difference between someone who you've always known, who you've always seen, say on LinkedIn. The person you've known the person over years. Person is consistently speaking, consistently conversing with other people, consistently sharing tips, consistently doing things. So I mean, you've had this person in the periphery of your vision for what, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, right? And suddenly, an opportunity opens. Typically, that is associated, that that person for. Typically, you think about that person, or if that person is brought forward as a candidate, right? You look at, oh, I know him, or I know her. They do so and so. Here, this is how I know them. You view that person differently from someone who set up their LinkedIn profile last week. Well, I mean, I've Googled, you hear things like, well, I've Googled the person. Well, they seem to have a good profile, it seems to be fresh, but I don't know anybody who really knows them. What they're saying is, the person has failed to build the brand capital, right? The capital that's required to get things done or to access opportunities. It's never, please don't get me wrong, it's never too late to come to that realization and start to do something about it. What I'm actually telling you is, don't put it off. If you're listening to me, don't put it off and say, oh, I will wait till I'm looking for a job. Start now, right? So that you're building weight and effectiveness around, your brand. So don't wait until it's an emergency. It's much harder work, right? And much more uphill work when it's an emergency. All right. So let's talk about mistake number 4. Yes. Well, okay, there's Onome. Hey,
Yes.
welcome back. The internet
Thank you
is
very much.
something else. Yeah?
Something else.
Something else.
Especially
All right,
this
while
side
you
of
were
town.
away, yeah. Oh, I have a comment. Sorry, let me pause and take the comment. Abubakar says hello. All right, Abubakar, if you have a question, please go ahead and ask your question. All right, so while you were away on the main, I talked about, I covered the pretending to be who you are not, and then I talked about not waiting until it's an emergency before you start to build your brand. And now, so let's talk about mistake number 4, not doing the foundational work for building
Now
your brand.
that's an interesting one, because I think a lot of times we don't understand the importance of personal branding until it's almost too late. Maybe you've lost a job and then you now think, oh yeah, so this is one of the things I really need to put out there. But from ab initio, from day one, from scratch, you also need to have started working on your personal brand. And there's some things which I'm sure you explained towards the end of this conversation on the basic things you start doing, before on your, as a process to building up your personal brand. Not in the financial work. It's just at the end of the day going to cause more delay. It's like you're building a house and you haven't gotten the foundation right. At some point in time, you need to crumple. So that foundational work is what gives you that basis, that base to start your personal brand. And it builds up, it ramps up as we go on along. But it's incredibly important to do that foundational work.
Yes, I agree absolutely. And the challenge with the foundational work is that it's not as immediately rewarding as, say, updating your profile, right? It's not as immediately rewarding as, say, taking a nice picture and projecting. It is hard, quote and unquote, unsexy work, right? It is really coming to grips with, who am I? Who am I? Who am I trying to target? What am I trying to achieve, right? The people I'm trying to reach, what do they value?
What difference? So also what differentiates me? Yeah, what differentiates me really, really, really? What differentiates me between the next person? Who's in my position? Who is in my space? What's the differentiator? That question also is very key.
Yes. So it's a lot of thinking, getting the fundamentals, understanding the fundamentals, and creating strategy. And we will talk about it a little more as we go further. But you don't just get up and put out profile. Please, I beg you. You actually have to do the work. Let's move on to mistake number 5. Mistake number 5, ignoring others in your brand discovery and management.
Yeah, I mean, this for me is important. In as much as you don't want people to control your narrative or control your story, but they're also very key in understanding who you are. When you bring others into your conversation, you gain a lot more valuable feedback and insights about yourself. Now it's up to you to say this feedback is going to help me. Is it going to is it detracting away? But I can tell you, negative feedback helps. Negative feedback that you think it helps you, in redirecting. I was saying something that there's something everybody now talks about, your truths and my truths, or your realities and my realities. So everybody's reality is different. You might be in the same situation, but where the other person is going to narrate that situation is different from how you have seen the situation. Yeah, but I think the thing about personal branding is to balance both your own narrative and the outside narrative. Such that it is positive for you at the end of the day. That is the bottom line. So we had said feedback is critical. There was an organization I worked for some years ago. They used to have 360-degree a feedback mechanism where anonymous posts, anonymous emails will be sent to everyone, your bosses, your peers, your associates, and they'll ask them a few questions. Feedback from those sessions I used to look for, because you would read what people really think about you, because they know nobody knows who they are.
Some of those feedback can be brutal. Oh my God!
I'm telling you. So, but sometimes you'll be able to be trying to find out who wrote this. This person was the one that wrote this. But at the end of the day, it was really good for me because it showed up where I was pretty strong. And it showed up where I had gaps, because you don't just say those things. You actually have to give physical examples. Another thing that is important, again, another way you could also see this is even on your LinkedIn profile. If you check your references or your recommendations, you will find there is a particular thread.
There's a pattern.
Yes. So I'm not on the recommendations you say, you ask people to say, just write. The ones that come naturally to people that they want to talk about you. You will find there are certain words, there are certain things they say that is really concurrent along the way. So that's also how you understand what your brand is. That's what, ignoring your brand, people is very, very dangerous. Because when you find that there are good things, you now try to align to that. Is that really what I want to be known for? Or I want to go beyond this and be known for this. And then you now know how to,
tweak your approach.
Juggle things around. Yes. So I mean, it's very, very important. Yeah. Not to ignore people in brand discovery and management.
I couldn't agree more. At the end of the day, right? Personal branding, all branding is about perception management.
Yeah.
And it's not your own perception you are managing. It is people's perception that you are managing. So you had better understand how people are seeing you, right? What you consider to be really important may not necessarily be important to the people you're trying to reach, right? But also understanding your target audience. Remember, you are the one who has a goal. Knowing how they think, what they see, helps you adjust your approach to get across to them, because it is perception management, right? And I have one of those horror stories too about that 360 feedback. I'm laughing because I have to share it. When my very first team that I ever managed, my first supervisory position, I built a sales and marketing team from scratch. I was the pioneer. So I hired some bright people, all of us very passionate about, we're reaching higher, we're climbing,
making a difference.
So I was So there's sales and then there's marketing, right? And sales is very, very, you have to be, it's very driven, so very target driven. And so I had the attitude of, if it required us working overnight, or working through the weekend to get this thing done, I had no problem with doing it. And I used to routinely just people, no, we don't leave this office until this thing is done.
Ouch.
And I was because I tend to be very friendly, I had great rapport with my teammates till tomorrow, right? Some of my closest friends are people I've managed. So I didn't think I was thinking, oh, I'm a cool boss, and we're hitting our targets. And then they now did this 360. My good God, Onome. Do you know? I mean, I got rave reviews. I think I had 5 team members, right? 3 were raving, but 2 were so bitter. It was such a shock, right? And the complaint was that I had no respect for their personal time demands. One said, oh, that she had almost lost her relationship because, I was insisting on, staying the weekend and all that. And it was such it was humble pie, right? But here's how it helped me. That is the reason why I went out of my way to now start understanding people, and to start understanding what drives all of us, is different. And that if you want to lead people, you must know, how to interact with each person. That's a practical lesson in branding right there in personal
I can
branding.
give one more. I can give a quick one, personal one. When I was, growing in my career, I found out that I have a very big voice physically, but interestingly, it tended to intimidate people. And personally, I don't feel I'm like that. But in a meeting, when you are sounding loud, you are stating your opinions clearly. Some people like, we're not quarreling now, or they get a bit frazzled. So I had to learn also understanding people and their reactions and their perceptions. And because my role is always an influential, you need to influence people. You can't keep quarreling. You need to influence. So I've learned over time to temper my voice down and smile through my voice. So those are the kind of even little things that understanding who you are and what you want to bring to the table can do.
Actually major. And it also underscores the fact that personal branding is not just for outside, right? It's not just for when you're looking for a job. Personal branding can make the difference between getting promoted, getting recommended, even for opportunities within your organization, right? So it's huge in external sales, but it's also huge for where you're at. And people hold the key. In fact, one of the first steps we say you should do is do a brand audit before anything else. But I mean, okay, so we'll cover that a bit more. Let's move. So final mistake number 6, underestimating the time and efforts it takes to build a brand.
This is extremely key. So what happens with this, like, it's not a one-off shot. So building a personal brand is not a one-off shot. Something that you just say, oh yeah, I need to do this now, and then you've done the work. It's an intentional journey. It's very, very intentional. It's a lifelong project actually, because as you grow, your goals might evolve. So what you wanted to do 5 years ago might be different from what you want to do the next 5 years or next 10 years. And because these goals evolve, your personal brand needs to evolve on that journey as well. So it's just not a one-time thing. For example, from being a mid-level manager, you might be going to be a senior manager. From that, you might be going to be a director. From being a director, you can be CEO. Your goals are evolving. The abilities you need to have in those roles, or the things you need to deliver in those roles might be slightly different. So your personal brand has to evolve along those lines as well. So it's almost like, I'll say it's a lifetime project.
It is. Even after you retire, you want to have you want to leave a legacy. You know, you want to be a mentor, right?
Yeah,
Still branding,
yeah,
still
yeah.
branding.
So
Absolutely.
we should expect it to take a lot of time and effort, and then you need to consistently monitor it to ensure that you are still on that whatever brand goal you have decided on. You need to keep monitoring and assess it. You know. So I mean, it's a lifelong project. It's not a one
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I absolutely. And you know, just back to that point we're making about, first of all, there's you have to spend time on doing the foundational work first. Get the foundations right. Second, and your strategy right. Second,
Yeah.
so you've created the brand that you would like to project. You have to actually project it. Projecting it right requires another time and strategy. So how do you
Oh
project
boy.
the brand? Those kinds of things. How do
Wow.
you show up? How often do you show up? Onome, you know now, standard marketing thing. People have to be exposed to your brand 6 or 7 times before it
They
becomes
have
even
to see. Yeah.
recognizable.
People
And
have
then
to be
how do you
aware.
aware? So, so that's awareness. So before you now start talking about being top of mind,
Hmm.
so that when people encounter, you know, problems that you say you solve, they refer you. That kind of a thing. So so there's a strategy and there's a consistent projection and representation of your brand that is required. If I got up and made my LinkedIn, for an example, the most beautiful LinkedIn profile, right? And I put it there and I go away, it
It's
dies.
of no use.
It's of no use. If I'm not using that profile to interact, to not just to say who I am, but to be curious about who other people are and to build
Yeah.
relationships. And
Yeah.
that takes time. So let's not, it's important not to underestimate what it takes, right?
It's a lot of
But
work. It's a lot
yes,
of work.
but
Another
it's
thing I would
doable.
like to just say too. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
extremely doable. You just have to put in the work. It's like in marketing. You just have like
Good
regular
marketing.
brands. You just have to put in the work.
It's
Um,
good marketing anyway.
I would say also personal branding is also about the content you put out.
Yeah.
So you need to now take out time to think about what you want to put out because that's what also can get you known and make people aware.
Mm-hmm.
That you won't have content, I'm sorry, you need content. That's your own personal content, who you are. It can be about whatever it is that you're interested in. It can be whatever it is that you want to project out there. But people will only get to know you if you have content. The content that
Yeah.
you have inside you that you don't know. This process, the brand audit, all of that will also help you identify those things and then help you to say, this is what I need to do with this kind of content, and then put it out there for people to see.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that brings us now to, I mean, we've talked about a whole, I know, right, for a fact that if you've watched this with us from the beginning, you have learned a lot what to do, what not to do, right, with your personal brand. But I have an exciting announcement. So, I mean, in talking about this, Onoma and I have come up with a program for mid to senior level executives who are looking to you've seen this now, and you're looking to now do the work that it takes. You feel it's time. I want to take charge of my personal brand, or I have a specific
Exactly.
goal I want to achieve. We've put together a boot camp. It's starting on the 12th of June, 4 Saturdays. You see these things we've just told you about. We'll take you through a thorough process from um, you know, identifying your strengths, your unique value proposition, an in-depth look at who you're trying to influence, and what works best for them, to helping you do, like, walking you through the process of doing a brand audit. Then we craft your brand, your brand persona, your brand positioning. We show you how to, your brand statements, right? And then we take all that and we put it in a high impact resume. We show you how to use it to optimize your LinkedIn, and then we help you think about, so going forward, what's my plan for continuing to project my brand, right? So as I said, it's starting on the 12th of June. We have put together a page with the details. The page is there, and I'll also put the link in the box below in the comments below this video if you're looking at it. You can also check out my profile on LinkedIn. It's just Ladigia. If you search on LinkedIn or on Onome's profile, we'll have the information there. If you have any questions about it, I mean, the page has all the details and shows you how to sign, walks you through the sign up process, etc. But if you have any additional questions, right there you can send me your questions and we will answer you. It costs just 80,000 naira actually, and we've deliberately, and it's going to be a small class because you're not coming to listen to lectures, you are coming to build your brand.
Yep.
So we are going to build it together. What you will walk away with at the end of the 4 Saturdays, right, is your brand statements, your positioning, your resume done, your LinkedIn done, your going forward, at least a brief going forward plan, action plan.
Action plan. Action plan.
Done.
Yeah.
So we will equip you with what you need to go forward with. So this is you're not coming for lectures. If you really want to take charge of your brand and build and start to control your narrative, don't miss this. Of course, I mean, it will be myself and Onome facilitating together, right? I mean, I guide and I hire people, right? So if you're looking for a job, I know exactly what employers are looking, right, to see, and I can help you with defining that. I also guide people in terms of getting to senior level roles, right? Onome is our our resident marketing guru. So we'll bring the best of the principles proven that corporate brands have used, right, to build distinct brands. We'll combine that with years of, recruiting knowledge and career coaching to give you something that gets you not just starting, but you will hit the ground running when it comes to your personal brand. Onome, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, so at the end of the day, what we leave from this bootcamp would be something really tangible that will help you, will move you ahead. So it's not just, I just attend. No. We are keeping with tools, to understand your personal brand better, how to incorporate it into your daily life and your speak, when you speak to the world, how to incorporate your personal brand into everything that you do, so it comes across very strongly, I mean, it's something that I would encourage you, as somebody who is ambitious, who wants to grow,
Yes.
to be part of. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, absolutely. Okay, so I think we're at the end of this. I've had fun, Onome. Thank you as always.
As usual.
Thank you as always. And thank you for joining us, and for if you're watching the replay, for looking at the replay. We really appreciate feedback, right? Feedback is king. So please don't just watch and go away. Reach out with questions. Give us your feedback. We truly appreciate it. All right. So same time next week we'll be here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, Ladi.